Welcome to the Prop Line. Andy, Jim, and Corbin here. We're going to go over NFL Week 2, all of our favorite props and parlays. No time to waste. Let's get into it. If you guys could, hit the like button, leave us a comment. We like reading all the comments, but hitting like button and leaving a comment really helps the algorithm out. So let's jump into it. We always want to get in the habit of checking the weather. And after last week, when we said there won't be any concerns for weather, we had 2 games go to weather delay because of lightning. We'll say it again. Not really seeing anything. There might be some thunderstorms in the Dolphins game. It's Miami, so good luck figuring that out, how accurate that's going to be. So, but Miami, just keep your eyes open for that one on Sunday morning. So, all right. Well, Jim, I got to go to you first. Your Jets, Jets. Going at the Bills. This is kind of one of those funny where like this is technically an away game for Buffalo, but like isn't really an away game for Buffalo. So what'd you think of your Jets in week 1? What'd you see out of your team? How do you think they do this week?
I couldn't be happier in a loss. Couldn't be happier. Game was over. My whole house was mad, and I'm like, I don't know what you guys are upset about.
Really?
We scored on our first possession of the season. That hasn't happened in years. First possession of the game, we scored. We had points by halftime. How could you not be happy? I was thrilled. I thought the offense looked good. I think it's built around the quarterback. I love the fact that the coach made no muffs about it, no pun intended, and cut the punt returner, Xavier Gibson. That's it. So
It's so funny.
he wasn't lying, man. Do your job or we'll find somebody else that will. And he is a Parcells lineage guy, and he sure coaches like him.
All right. Well,
I'm excited going into this week.
All right. What props do you like?
Jets-Bills matchup. Here's what I saw. Coming from a Jet fan, we've never been able to cover the tight end. 7 receptions to tight ends last week. I am staring at this number on Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid looks healthy. He's got a connection with Josh Allen. With the disappearance of a lot of their offensive weapons this year, now we're looking at who is the guy. So we have Shakir, Coleman's emerging, but it sure seems to me like Dalton Kincaid is going to be a focal point here. I actually like his yards at 29.5. I think he'd get there in 2 receptions. I wouldn't be shocked to see him in the end zone. Absolutely love Dalton Kincaid against us this week. We'll get to how to play against the Jets going forward, but this falls right into my category, which we'll get to in the Things That Suck segment. Other than that, Will McDonald to have a sack. He tallied 2. The guy looks like he has been coached up. He's got multiple moves. We have a future on Will McDonald, so we're happy with 2 sacks in the beginning of the year. And how could you not talk about Breece Hall? It sure looks like they're going to focus on it. And again, we'll get to the Bills' defense in the Things That Suck segment. So that's where I'm sitting at with the Jets.
Corbin?
We all know my favorite play and what I'm going to. It's we're going to keep riding it. It's greedy Josh Allen. Just keep doing it every single week. He's either going to get one on the first possession when he knows all the eyes are on him and be like, yeah, I'm the guy. And if it gets to the 3rd or 4th quarter and he hasn't had his moment, he's like, oh, God, I haven't had my publicity photo shoot
This
of the
is
week.
so great.
Let me
Let
me just jump over the whole defense instead of letting the running back run in, just so he can do his little pose and he can be like, I'm the man. Everyone will forget it by a few hours away, but he had his moment, so don't worry. He had one one in each head-to-head last year. Mm-hmm. Is this game big enough for him to care about it? Again, it's always the primetime games where I feel like he's most likely to want that camera time to just show off his flex of the week. But I think he'll want this game. So I think he'll want his star moment. So I'm going to go continue to go with Josh Allen to have a touchdown. And then I'm quite worried, quite honestly, because I have 4 receiving plays and I love all of them. So I'm hoping one of you two will talk me out of at least a couple here. So I'm going to try and whiz through them. James Cook, over 12.5 receiving. Last year, blowout win, didn't have any receptions versus the Jets. That was my one concern, is if the Bills just run over the Jets and the Jets go back to being how they normally are. He had 5 receptions last week for 58 yards. Jets are quite good, it seems, versus the run last week. Warren only went for 27 with 11 rushes. Gainwell got 19 yards on 7. Warren got 2 receptions for 22 yards. I think they are going to get James Cook involved, and 12.5 seems like an awfully low total to me. So that's my first one. My second is Palmer over 33.5 receiving or over 2.5 receptions. I'm torn between the two. 5 receptions last week on 9 targets for 61 yards. So it's like double basically what the line is. The problem I have is that I don't know if Allen's going to be throwing the ball as much as last week. Well, firstly, I don't think he is going to be throwing the ball as much as he did in that shootout last week. But still, like, that's a huge jump from what I think could be a really productive player for them and still quite low totals. Next two are Jets players. Hall over 18.5 receiving. I was kind of worried he only had 2 receptions last week for 38 yards. So he went over the yards, but not the receptions. Had a long of 33 yards. His longest is 11.5 this week. That was another angle I was looking at. I think the Jets are going to be playing from behind. I think they're going to have to check it down to Hall and get him involved. Slightly confused. I would have to dig into the numbers a bit more. In the head-to-heads last year, he had one monster game where he had 5 receptions for 56, and then the other he only had 1 reception for 8. So I'm not sure what changed between those games, but that's something, if I'm going to take this prop more seriously, I'd have to look into. And then my last one in this game is I have to go for Garrett Wilson over 59.5. Like, it just seems too low to me. It's over 4.5 receptions. So he had 7 receptions last week for 95 yards on 9 targets. He's definitely Fields' number one guy. He's the number one guy on the team. I don't trust the Bills to stop anyone in the backfield, quite honestly. The Bills are 9th worst versus the pass, and 59.5 seems like an awfully low total for a guy with so much star power like Wilson. So I'm hoping one of you can at least talk me off some of those 4 that I just mentioned.
I would be just a touch worried about the Brees Hall receptions. I have him big in the running game. I have him real big in the running game. He looked like he had his explosion back, and I think that's where he's going to be most useful in that. There was a couple surprises. Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, that was another backfield where one guy looked really, really good, and the receptions and stuff changed. So, Corbin, I don't know if you have been doing any of the ladders, but I like this Brees Hall ladder up.
See, I thought about it, but again, it's for me, I'd have to see more of Brees Hall running through more than one game because he struggled the whole of last year. I need to at least see it for at least more than one game. But then I also have the Jets in my head playing from behind. So I'm like, how much are they going to be running the ball if the Bills are going to be up? That was why I went that way. So.
That's interesting. I think the Bills' defense is bad. I think this is going to be a close game throughout. So I think they keep using Brees Hall. I mean, I love this 5-1 on him.
They're going to commit to that running game as much as they possibly can. They know that Fields throwing the ball 40-plus times is not going to lead to success, even if they're down. They're not going to risk destroying the kid and destroying his momentum. They have to run the ball. Have to. What worries me about the Brees Hall thing is that if we're using him in the running game, we could see Braylon Allen getting those receptions and the tight ends on these screen plays. We saw a couple of screens. We didn't see like the typical screen plays to the running backs. I thought it was interesting that they made a very conscious effort to get the tight ends involved and get other people involved, but still focusing on Garrett Wilson. So yeah, the Brees Hall for me as well, Corbin. I would stay away from that one.
You guys have any opinion on the other 3 that I mentioned quickly? Or
I'll explain that in my segment.
Okay,
you'll understand.
We'll park that for the minute then.
I'm all over this Jets team total over 19.5 for that Bills defense, just way too banged up. And Corbin, you mentioned Josh Allen. James Cook at this price is just, you have to play it every week. 15 out of the last 19 games he scored. He scored in both games against the Jets. It's just rinse and repeat. You're playing these guys every single week. So, all right. Let's move on to the Giants and the Cowboys. I think the Bills and the Jets probably is the game I had the most props in.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot in this one. So, Jim, what do you think?
I don't know what to expect. I want to say Tyrone Tracy has a good game. It got away from him against Washington. I don't think they could really commit to him. I think this is a wake-up call for the Giants staff, how bad Russell Wilson really is at this point in his career. And I do believe if they want to win games, they're going to have to commit to getting Tyrone Tracy the ball. I would be looking at his rushing and receiving. I know that they got Cam Scatterbo, but the kid is not ready to be a bell cow back in the NFL. They're going to put him in for pass protection. They're going to put him in here or there. I like Tyrone Tracy to have a big game here. I know the 75 is high, but it wouldn't shock me to see Dallas, also garbage time. Like, say Dallas does just thump the Giants. Tracy's going to be one getting these dump-off passes, and we know Russell Wilson. He's not interested in getting hit anymore. Okay, so I would look at Tyrone Tracy. Other than that, I really can't figure out this Dallas offense other than, CD. I guess you could look at Pickens' longest reception. But I got to watch both these teams in week 2 to really commit to anything and see what they are.
Corbin?
I have a same game parlay on my favorite angle of this game. The only had two other props. Russell Wilson over 14.5 rushing. There's already calls for Dart to come in and replace him. Like, you have to feel like this is his last opportunity as a starter. If he gets benched for Dart, nowhere else is going to take him as a starter. He's going to be desperate. He's going to use his legs. He ran 8 times last week for 44 yards. Line's only 14.5 this week. Seems a bit... I don't understand why it's so low to me. I was expecting more in the 20s. I think he's going to be desperate on the run. He's going to have to make something happen. I think he can get over 14.5 in a couple of rushes, quite honestly. And the second is Aubrey over 1.5 field goals, minus 120. He made 2 last week, 2 in each of the head-to-heads last year. 14 out of the 17 games he went over this total last year. Now, that obviously was with backups, so I could kind of see that he's not going to go over 14 maybe this year because they'll find the end zone more often. My one problem with this prop is whether I think the Giants can get any stops against this Dallas offense, which is probably going to keep me off officially playing it, but it's definitely, I'm going to come back to Aubrey in future weeks. Just, I don't have any faith in the Giants to stop them, but I think he could still easily go over 1.5 field goals. So
I like, God, he's got a leg and a half
Has
on
a
him.
boot, man.
exactly. If they get a stop anywhere from like midfield, it's like, Aubrey's going to have a go. So
Yep. All right, move on to the Jags and the Bengals. Corbin, coming right back to you. What do you like in this game, if anything?
I have one parlay piece that I will mention in the alt game. The only other one I wanted to bring up, but I'm not going to play, is Chase Brown receptions. It really hurt me last week. It was one of my favorite plays on the board. He only had 2. And I was like, I'll just come straight back to it this week. But there's reasons why I'm not going to come back to it. And it's mainly around the odds. So he needs 4.
They bumped it. They bumped it to 3.5.
Yeah, so he needs 4 to cash a plus money play. So he had 3 targets and 2 receptions. And I was like, what is he just to have 3, which was the line last week? And it's minus 250. You can get an alt on his receptions. And I'm like, I can't lay minus 250 on a guy to have 3 when he only had 3 targets last week. Like, I don't know if something changed. I don't know if it was just a one-off, but it's enough to put me off the play this week. So, yeah.
Jim, do you like anything in this game?
Brenton Strange. Trevor Lawrence loves this guy, and nobody wants to talk about it. He has loved him since he walked through the door in Jacksonville. Racks up 59 yards last week. This line's only 35.5 against this Bengals secondary. If the Bengals, the Jags defense isn't good either. So I expect some points in this game, man. I think they're going to be throwing the ball, and there is no other option but to get the ball to Strange because Lawrence loves him, absolutely loves him. They're still trying to figure out what Travis Hunter, what stage he's at right now. 33 yards, rookie, all that. I like that number on Strange. A little sprinkle on him to score, too. I wouldn't be shocked to see him get in the end zone.
Only other thing that I have is the passing or the completions, 26. Just think Burrow is going to need to get that offense going. I mean, they even though they won, they just looked anemic against Cleveland. It was a bad look. So I think the Jacksonville might have thrown people off the scent. I don't think they're that good. That Carolina team is just really bad. So I would look for Burrow to get that offense going again. Browns and the Ravens, huge spread, biggest spread of the week. Corbin, any props you like in this one?
Yeah, this might be my favorite play on the board. I mentioned it last week, and I mention it every time he starts, but Flacco over his pass attempts. 37.5 this week. He started really slow last week. He didn't have that many attempts going through the first half, really, but then he really stepped on the gas and ended up with 45. You mentioned the spread. They are going to be playing from behind, I suspect, and that means that Flacco is going to be launching the ball all over the place. Ravens typically quite good versus the run, but can give up some in the passing area. Yeah, I love this. I'm just going to keep riding Flacco over his pass attempts every single week until I see something that makes me change my mind, which didn't. So
It's already up to 38.5, and you're still taking it. So
I
Yeah,
am.
you're still playing it.
yeah. Jim, anything you like in this game?
I think the tight ends get featured in this game. Coincidentally, a lot of tight end props this week that I actually like. So,
Yeah.
look, they're the Ravens defense. They have Kyle Hamilton, the best safety in the league. Yet they're horrible against tight ends. I don't understand it. Maybe it's just how they play him, but it seems like Njoku always has a big game. They got him right now as his yardage is what I can get 40 plus at minus 116 on Njoku. Flacco first week, I wouldn't say that he looked comfortable. The offense still is just kind of like, what the heck are we? Without the Nick Chubb running game that they had. I would expect them to figure out a couple things, and this is a divisional opponent who they've seen before. So if you ask me which divisional opponent has to come up with a new idea of how to defend, it's the Ravens. It's not the Browns. The Ravens really don't know what the Browns are going to do without Nick Chubb and that dominant offensive line. We all assume it's going to be passing after we saw what the Bills did. So I like Njoku. I think he has a good bounce-back week after kind of being a non-issue.
I quickly want to mention this play. I'm going to throw to Andy rather quickly, but Njoku burned me last week. That was actually my favorite play on the board. And then Fannin, I think is how you say his name,
Yeah, Harold
completely
Fannin.
showed up and took everything that he had with 7 receptions on 9 targets. And his line is only 3.5 receptions this week. That kind of feels like maybe it's like one we can jump on quickly before the books adjust, because 3.5 on a guy that got 7 is quite a thing. I'll throw to Andy because he's the one that actually brought it up to me earlier this week about it.
Yeah,
so.
he was the one that killed the Njoku play. I didn't expect it much, but
7 receptions. I mean,
Fannin was
yeah.
very, very productive in college. He went to a smaller school, so that's probably why he was off of the radar. But he's good, and I'm sure he surprised everybody. I don't know what the game plan will be, but I would.
I'd say 3.5 seems very low on a guy that got 7, and I'm expecting them to throw the ball even more this week.
Well, you're right. If Flacco throws the ball 45 times again, yeah,
exactly.
He's gonna be in there. Okay. I have nothing in this game really. Just I don't know. Derrick Henry anytime touchdowns minus 205. It's crazy to think, but it is a parlay piece. And it just it just keeps hitting. So. We will move on to the Rams and the Titans. To me, this is a prop wasteland. I have nothing.
Oh, I got a great one.
Okay, Jim. Go
Kyron
for it.
Williams.
Okay.
How many times do we have to scream Kyron Williams? I know it's minus 175
You
for
want
him
the
to
touchdown
score,
score?
but it's just Kyron Williams. Like, stop
Yeah.
asking. Stop. The Rams are always going to give this guy the ball if they're inside the 15-yard line. They're going to run it at least once to him. Every time. Every time. So he just gets all the work, man. He gets all the work. I'm a big fan of Kyron. I think he's very underrated. You said it last week. It's like every year,
Every
should
year.
be somebody replace him, and then there he is. And nobody talks about him. And then at the end of the season, he's got 13 touchdowns.
Yeah,
So,
it's true.
If they're going to keep it under minus 200, I'm going to play it.
Corbin, you like anything?
Yeah, I'm going to look at Stafford not to throw an interception. Titans don't get that many interceptions. They only had 11 last year on the whole season, which ranks 19th. He didn't have one last week. He didn't really seem to put the ball in much danger from the bits that I saw last week. My one concern is last year as a whole, he had 8 with interceptions, 9 without. So it's kind of one of those. Is it worth trying to pick this week as a week that I think he's not going to have one? Because it's kind of one of those. It's hard to predict interceptions sometimes. I like the Loves and the Herberts where you can ride them for the whole year. So it's whether I want to pick and choose this match to play him not to have an interception. And then Cam Ward just really sucked. And it's not going to build any confidence. It's not going to build any confidence going into this week. The Rams defense looked quite good last week. It's a question of if I was going to play it, how would I? I was looking and like he only had 12 completions. He was sacked 6 times. I was going to go to Jim and ask if there's any sack props in this one.
You read my mind where we were going. Go ahead.
He had 0 rushes last week and he fumbled the ball. I'm like, so he was bad on basically all fronts. Like, which is the best one to fade him? And I figured sacks might be the best way, which is why I was going to throw it to Jim. So
when we get players out for sacks, yes, I will be looking long and hard at this. It sure looked to me like the game is too fast for Cam Ward right now. And that's okay. He's a rookie. The game is fast. We've seen this over and over and over again. Now, he did go up against the Broncos, who we're going to get to as well. But this pass rush for the Rams is a damn good pass rush. They have some great players. Hokett, Pace, really good pass rushers on this team. And I think they've built this defense up from when it was a ghost town, and we were really worried about it. And they showed up last year. They played really tough in some good games. So once we get our players out for sacks, yes, we'll look at it. You could probably look at total sacks. If you could get 3, I wouldn't be shocked to see 3 being a good number. But, yeah, I agree with you, Corbin. I think the game is a little too fast for Cam Ward right now.
Yeah.
I will take over 3.5 on the amount of times the announcers go, and Calvin Ridley just can't quite bring it in. I'm sorry, Calvin. The ball has to be perfect for Calvin
Way to help
Ridley
out your rookie quarterback.
to
Right?
get it. Yeah, that's my favorite prop in this one. Calvin Ridley just can't bring it in. All right, move on to the Bears and the Lions. But real quick, I want to tell you guys, NFL Week 2 props and parlays pack is up 8-6 last week. I keep saying we do 8-6 every week. We're going to be really, really happy at the end of the year. Our volume is pretty high, but any play that we have for Sunday and Monday included is just going to be in one pack. So one pack, you get all of our props, you get all of our parlays. We only had 2 parlays. I hit both of them last week. So things are looking good after Thursday Night Football. Just missed a plus money play on defense, but we hit Jordan Love to not have an interception. We got home on one of the first legs of our parlay. So you want to play the same NFL plays that we're playing, jump on board with us. There's one pack that gets everything, and you'll see plays coming in throughout the weekend. So if you get the pack, just expect more plays to come out, the more and more props that they release closer to game time. So that is over at WagerTalk, WT.buzz/AL. Bears and the Lions. This is like the storyline game of the week. This is a lot of fun. There's a lot going on here. Jim, I'll go to you first. What do you think of Bears and Lions?
So my question is who is this more of a revenge game for, the Bears or the Lions?
These are so silly. Like, the revenge game can be
They're
fun
gonna beat
sometimes.
it into the ground this week. NFL Network is going to beat it into the ground. Like, this is the most bloodthirsty game that we're going to see all season when it's just simply an offensive coordinator left. I was really disappointed in Caleb Williams in that Bears game. Started fast, missed players, high, low, just throwing the ball away. It didn't even look at his tight ends that were wide open. And that's what I'm coming to, is that these lines are dropping. You can't even get a line on Cole Kmet right now on DraftKings, but you can get Colston Loveland at 19.5. Do I believe that the coaching staff is going to break down that film and say to Caleb, he's wide open, Caleb. That's where you have to go with the ball. And we see that. At some point, that has to happen. It's just terrifying putting any kind of money on Caleb Williams at this point. You just, like you said it, I believe, earlier this week, Andy. It's something about him. He just doesn't look like he has it. It just doesn't seem it. Now, this line on Loveland's down to 19.5. Ugh. I can't get there just yet. I got to see some kind of life out of this man to make the right decisions playing quarterback. As far as the Lions go, they better be pissed off. They should be pissed off. they're going to have to get some kind of an identity here. And I think that goes back to the run game, and it goes back to, Gibbs trying to get him the ball. But again, I'll look at the number on Montgomery. I said it last week. I'm going to continue to say I will look at David Montgomery before I will look at Gibbs. But I haven't gotten there on anything. Nothing.
Yeah. Corbin?
I have a couple of angles. Again, whether I play them is another question. Swift over his receptions. He had 3 receptions last week on 5 targets. I'm not sure what version of either team's going to show up, but I'm expecting high scoring. I'm expecting the Lions to bounce back and score some points. So I think they're going to have to. The Bears are going to have to keep up. He had games last year. He had 2 receptions for 35 and 3 for 33. Probably keeps me off because even if he's getting there, it's only just about. I think there's better props. The one I was looking at is Montgomery over his receptions. In some places, it's weird. In some places, it's 2.5, and some it's 1.5 juiced to -200 range. He had 4 last week for 18 yards, but I don't know how much of that was down to him being down versus the Packers. Last year, he had 3 receptions for 36. I may well go with that over 1.5 at -200 and put that with something because I quite like that angle. 2 receptions on Montgomery seems awfully low. I was looking at Gibbs as well, but again, he had 2 for 17 last year, but he had 10 last week, and the line's only 3.5. So I'm kind of working out what to do. I feel like I'll probably go Montgomery over 1.5 with something. And then my only other play is Goff not to throw an interception. So he had one last week, but as we mentioned, he was behind basically the whole game. And we'll get to the Packers defense at some other point, but we're on fire. Last year, 11-6 didn't have an interception, including both games versus Chicago. It's one where off one last week, I think he could bounce back and have quite a clean game. So that's where I was looking at those props.
Caleb Williams, rinse and repeat, not have an interception. I don't know why this is -120. I mean, this guy's has 1 interception in the last 12 games. So I will gladly, don't tell the books, I will gladly keep playing this every single week. There's a great stat going around on Twitter about how in his career he's got 52 overthrown incompletions, and I like the next highest is in the 30s. It's just like when he misses, it's high and it's just sailing out of bounds. We saw that last week. So when he misses, he's just not throwing it to the other team. So Caleb Williams is what I would like. And I'm with you here. This was one of my takeaways, and this is what I thought was going to happen. It's DeAndre Swift in that backfield, and it's nobody else. Here's the 3 people that had carries. DeAndre Swift, Caleb Williams, and DJ Moore. And the Bears, I know they're dealing with injuries in that backfield, but wow, they're playing with fire. But that's good for us because, DeAndre Swift, 3 catches for 12 yards, 17 carries for 53 yards. So, I mean, if you're looking at rushing totals and receptions, it's him. So I thought that was a pleasant surprise if you draft him in fantasy or if you're looking to play him. It was all him. So
that's why I like the 2.5 receptions, because I was like, if he's the only guy in the backfield,
yeah, he's going to be out there.
He had 3 last week when they were leading against the Vikings for the majority of the game.
Yeah, it was quick.
I don't expect as I said, I expect the Lions to fire back, so I don't expect the Bears to be leading for the majority of the game, which in my head leads to him getting even more than 3 receptions. So
yeah, I like Caleb Williams rushing props over 4.5 is pretty good. He had 6 last week. He probably, if they end up winning that game, he probably has more with the kneel downs at the end. So move on to the Seahawks and the Steelers. This was I'll just tell you guys, this was an eye-opener for the Seahawks backfield. Zach Charbonnet led the team in carries, and he wasn't the one catching the ball. Kenneth Walker was. So I was looking here at some of these receiving props, and boy, Kenneth Walker is at 11.5, and Kenneth Walker is only at 1.5. Holy cow, do I love Kenneth Walker over 1.5. The line's moving up. It was -160. It's all the way up to -170. I don't care. I'll gladly take him. If he goes over this week, you're never going to see 1.5 again. But they weren't looking at Charbonnet. They were looking to hand the ball off. It looks like they trust him more. And Kenneth Walker was the one that was out there getting the passes. So, Corbin, what's your take on this game?
Well, I was right there with you with Walker. That I circled that one with a extra couple circles around it this week. Over 1.5. He had 3 last week. Darnold loves a check down. Steelers are quite good versus the run, it seems. So tends to lead to more passing in the backfield. And Charbonnet didn't even have a target, so there's that. And then there's one place we got to go. We got to go to the passing props. My boy Aaron Rodgers flew back. I mentioned it last week, and you two started giggling like little school.
We did.
Oh, you mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Oh, da.
I want you to enjoy this while it lasts. I want you to enjoy this. I'm okay with it. I'm here for it. Bring it. But I want you to enjoy it now. Wait until it starts getting cold.
Oh, yeah, because he hasn't played in the cold very long, has he? Hasn't
Corbin, you're way younger than us. I'll tell you right now. We're in our 40s. The cold feels way different.
Well, I'm going to enjoy the moment for as long as I can, okay? So I'm going back to over 1.5 passing touchdowns at plus money.
I love that play, by the way. I love this play this week against Seattle. Yes.
What I find really confusing about this play, so firstly, he had 4 last week, just to emphasize, 4 against the Jets. Him to just have 1 passing touchdown is minus 450. Him to have 2 is suddenly plus 130. Like, I mentioned it last week when I was talking about why I liked him to go over 1.5 last week, and he had 4, just to emphasize the 4 again. On the goal line or anywhere, he just checks out of the run. He makes it into a pass so he can boost his stats. He does it all the time.
Greedy Aaron Rodgers.
And I'm not sure the Seahawks defense is particularly special in any kind of area. So, I think this is a great look, quite honestly. Also looking at Jackson, Smith, and Jigba over 5.5 receptions. He had 9 last week. He's the clear wide receiver 1 and seems to have a good connection with Darnold. My worry is that the Steelers just shut him down because he kind of seems like their only real threat. Like, when I think of the Seahawks now, I don't really think of anyone else particularly doing anything. Cooper Kupp seems to be anonymous. Like, it's just like... It's like what's going on there. Then obviously Walker that we already mentioned, and then Jonnu Smith over 3.5 receptions is one that I want to keep an eye on. He had 5 receptions last week. As I mentioned, I've watched a lot of Rodgers. He loves throwing to the tight ends. I think 3.5 receptions is really low on Jonnu Smith. My one concern is that he didn't have many yards with those receptions last week. So it's like, do they look at the film and go, oh, we threw to him 5 times and I think he only had like 18 yards or something? Or was it a case of those 18 yards are better than taking a sack or taking a negative play and it helps slightly? So it's one that I will, if I don't play, I might play. If I don't, it's one that I'm going to continue to watch. So go Aaron Rodgers.
Corbin, you have bragging rights this week. 100% you have bragging rights.
I got nothing.
All right, Jim, what do you like in this game?
First of all, I love Corbin's plays. Jonnu Smith was where I was going. Those short passes, they were all situational. It's all situational. And it seems to me that he's going to be the guy that Rodgers is going to look for other than DK. When it's 2nd and 6, 3rd and 4, it's not about the yards. It's converting those plays. The interesting thing, and I quote Aaron Rodgers, this was the most talented tight end room I've ever played with. Pat Freiermuth went over too. So not only did Jonnu Smith go over, Pat Freiermuth went over as well. So you have a 2.5 on Freiermuth and you have a 3.5 on Smith. I believe the receptions are the way to go. We also saw Jonnu Smith get involved with a sweep for a touchdown and a rush. So they are obviously looking for a secondary weapon apart from DK Metcalf. Also, anything you can play against the Steelers defense against Sam Darnold. We saw good old small hand Sam last week, fumbling, looking like a lost puppy in the game. I've seen this before. No matter where he goes, if you get near this guy, he just falls apart. I like TJ Watt to get a sack in this game. Sam's going to be under pressure, turnover. For Sam, interception. It's only minus 106.
Oh, I love that.
I am not sold on this Seattle team by any means. They got a lot of good young pieces, but I just don't know what they are. I don't know what they are. I don't know if they're gelled. And I don't believe that Sam Darnold is the answer. I really don't. Actually, really like your Steelers this week. That Steelers defense is prideful. And they got lit up by the Jets week 1. I expect them to come back with a much stronger effort. We saw T.J. Watt on the sideline pissed off in that game. So you are for sure that's being mentioned this week by Tomlin and T.J. Watt, that they got to play better defensively.
I've got Cooper Kupp under 32.5. But I think it's over. He had 2 catches for 15 yards last week. I mean, Darnold completed 16 passes. 9 of them went to JSN. It just feels like Cooper Kupp, the injuries and not being there with McVay and the chemistry that he had with help me out, Matt Stafford. It's just not there.
Yeah.
It's just not there. So, all right, we move on to the 49ers and the Saints. Boy, this game got ugly in a hurry. I will not have a penny on this game, Corbin.
I will.
Okay.
Well, let's see if he steals my play.
I've got 2.5 plays this week. You'll see the half in a minute because I'm waiting on a line. Okay, you'll see in a second. Just hold out. My first one is Christian McCaffrey over his receiving. I don't care that everyone is going to think of it. Over 33 yards is low for McCaffrey.
Yeah, it's already up to 36.5.
Yeah, shop again. This is why you shop around. The difference between some books still have 33 and some are 36. 3 yards is going to mean a lot in this kind of stuff. So last week we hit his live totals 3 times in the game. We just kept playing it over, and he would hit it and we'd play it again. There's just no real options. There's so many injuries. It's like, other than Purcell, who else is going to catch a ball here? He had 9 receptions for 73 yards. They might even put him as a wide receiver, quite honestly. They might bring Brian Robinson and play him at wide receiver if they have to. And I think he's going to go over this total quite easily. My second play I love is Rattler over 16.5 rushing yards. He had 4 rushing attempts last week for 29 yards. 4 of 6 games he went over last year. I like this 49ers defense, but I think they're going to leave space. That if you've got a choice of him throwing the ball, not that he's a particularly accurate passer, they're going to be trying to stop Kamara, basically. So I think Rattler can easily scramble for this in maybe even 2 plays. I think he's going to go well into the 20s. So that's actually one of my favorite plays on the board is Rattler over 16.5 rushing. And my half a play is I am waiting for Brian Robinson rushing line because I think they're going to run the ball a hell of a lot of times. And I think so he didn't have that many. If I remember, I was watching the game through the first quarter or first half. He didn't have that many. Into the second half, they upped his usage. So I could quite see. Again, I need to see the line to work out whether I like it, but I think he could have a good week. So they're my 3 plays, of which I will be playing.
Jim?
Well, Corbin, you took my favorite play, and that's that Spencer Rattler. I'll take it a step further. I think you ladder Spencer Rattler rushing.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah, I think you can ladder him up to 30. 40. Wow, 40 plus 5.
Okay, 40 is a little ambitious.
Plus 5.
I rushed for over 40 last week, man, on 4 rushes. That's it. This 49ers team, they know the offense is hurt. They're going to win this game with their defense. It is line up Nick Bosa and say, go get him. Like, you guys got to play lights out on defense. I think they're going to make life hell for Spencer Rattler. And I'd be remiss if George Kittle got injured and I didn't mention good old number 44. He's not listed yet because we have nobody listed yet. Kyle Juszczyk, 2 receptions for 30 yards last week. We've seen this with this 49ers offense. When Kittle goes down or McCaffrey goes down, it's got to go somewhere. And he's a guy that they trust. He's a guy that Shanahan trusts. You can plug him in the backfield. You can plug him in at tight end. I don't think they're going to trust, who's it, the other tight end? Tonga, I believe.
Yeah, he had a couple of receptions.
He had a couple receptions and a touchdown, but I don't think he's a fix-all. You go to what you know, and that's George Kittle. When one of these guys go down, you're going to get, right, Andy, 2 plays a game going to Kittle?
You're going to get 2 where he's wide open. was
Yep.
wide open. Now, can Mac Jones find him?
That's our question. So
Who knows?
we'll see. We'll see. But when we see Kittle use check pops come out, I'm interested in those. Bosa to get a sack, by the way.
Love it.
Patriots and the Dolphins. Dolphins just look completely inept. Where is that? Jim, I'll let you go first. I'm just quickly trying to scroll to this Tua to throw an interception. I mean, plus money. Jim, he was throwing it right to the defenders last week. I mean, right to the defenders. Yeah,
Did
I
you
like
see
that
the
one.
press conference? Tua,
No.
Why is it that when you throw,
You throw it in
turnovers, they come in
bunches.
bunches?
That was so
And
funny.
he goes bunches.
Wow.
I turn over. That's harsh, guys. It's like, Tua, it's the freaking truth, buddy.
Well, so was your play on Sunday.
It's just ugly for him. It's ugly for this team. I think they're a total fade. Tua interception. I like it, Andy. Do you have anything else before I jump
No,
in?
go ahead. That's all I had in this one.
Corbin, since you stole my play, I'm going to steal yours. It's just keep playing Hunter Henry.
God damn it.
You just keep playing Hunter Henry with his receptions, his receiving yards. It's the Hunter Henry show in this offense. Mac Jones loves Hunter Henry. Absolutely
Jones?
loves him. Or not Mac Jones, excuse
Drake
me.
May.
Drake May.
Drag me.
Loves Hunter Henry. Absolutely loves him. And it just seems like this offense funnels targets and yards to this guy over and over and over again. We're looking at 34.5 against this Miami defense. Yes, please. 3.5 receptions, I believe, as well. Yes, please. I'll take Hunter Henry however I can get him every week for this team.
Corbin?
Well, yeah, he stole my favorite play. Over 3.5 receptions, or you can get him to have 3 receptions at minus 220. We'll get to. I've got him in an alt piece coming up, so I'll save that for that. 2 other plays that I was looking at, but I don't think I'm going to get to. Henderson over 32.5 rushing. I think he's going to take over this backfield. Whether it's good enough to be this week, I don't know. The Dolphins are not great versus the pass, but they're quite decent versus the run. He had 5 carries for 27 last week, but he also had 6 receptions for 24 yards, which I found quite interesting. So that's one that I'm going to monitor. And then I really want to find a way to fade A-Chain. Like I hear all the time, it's A-Chain this. He's got the speed. He's good at this. And I watch him, I just think he's just not good. To me, he's not good. So he had 55 last week, but on only 7 attempts. It's really weird. He didn't have that many in the first half, and then they were down big, and then suddenly they did run it another 5 times with him in the second. And I don't know if the defense was just like, oh, we'll just let him rush because we're so far ahead. He can just run it for 10, 15 yards. It's not going to make a huge difference. The Pats aren't great versus the run, so that's what's going to probably keep me off. But I would love going forward to find a way to fade this man because I do not think he is worth the hype.
I will just add in, keep your eye on Kayshon Boutte. 3 out of his last 4 games, going back to last season, the guy's had 95 yards or more. He had 6 catches last week. He was good in college. He had off the field issues, but his talent is absolutely there. But 41.5 seems awfully low. And if he has another huge game, which he could against this Dolphins team, I wonder what this number is going to be. Yeah, line will be completely. Yeah, you won't get him below 50. So, moving on to Broncos and my Indianapolis Colts. Jim, I'll let you go first so you can talk about Daniel Jones and his rushing prop, which you went over by half a yard last week. Amazing.
We lucked out with no kneel downs. We were sweating it.
I was terrified. I was like, oh no, he's going to come in and kneel.
So it was 4 rushes, 26 yards. 4 rushes. Again, who did they play? They played a Miami defense that can't pressure anybody. Couldn't stop them. Really gave little to no resistance to the Colts offense. And we still had 4 rushes for 26 yards. We didn't get those, oh crap, I got to get out of here rushes. It was more like, all right, you know what, I'll run for 7, I'll run for 5 here. Now the Colts have the joy of going up against Denver, who had 6 sacks last week. I would say, do we all agree best defense in the NFL? Projected? up there.
They look pretty good. Give us a few games.
Okay.
Give us a few
They were
games.
projected to be one of the best, and they sure look damn good at the beginning of the
Corbin's
year
Packers
with the
might have
sacks.
something. Corbin's
Yeah,
Packers
they look
might
great.
have something.
They look
might
great.
have
I'll
something
give
to
you
say
that.
about that.
Yes.
Daniel Jones is going to be under pressure this week. This is not the Miami defense, and they're going to have to get him out of the pocket and on the move. If they keep him in the pocket against this pass rush, he is a dead man walking, and he knows it. So if they're going to keep this rushing again at 25 yards, this is the magic number for this guy. I mean, again, don't overexpose yourself, but I would ladder him up to 30 or 40. I think that the Colts are going to struggle on offense, and it's going to have to come from somewhere to the point where they say to Daniel, hey, listen, man, use your legs. If it's not there, take off and run. Get us in 2nd down and 5. Get us in, if it's 3rd and 6 and nothing's there, try to make something happen because this defense is pretty solid. They're solid in the secondary. They're solid up front. I'm going to continue to play this play if it's this number. It's that simple.
Corbin?
That's the only play I had written down. The only thing I was going to add a little lesson. You guys mentioned that it was 25.5. I got it at 23.5 just after we mentioned it on the show last week.
Nice.
That just speaks to that's why you get the plays in as soon as possible because the lines move. You might think, oh, it's moved from 23 to 25 or whatever it was. And, it's only 2 yards. But that 2 yards can make an awful lot of difference, especially when these totals are under 25 or 30. So, yeah. Only a lesson to try and lock these plays in sooner.
So this is the difference between your books over there and our books. You can't beat the prop lines over here, Corbin. We will get shut down immediately. If you I'm telling you, you beat these lines, you actually have to on purpose wait because if I were to play that 23.5 and I were to do that 5 or 6 more times, no more prop bets for old Andy.
That is why you make sure you have a lot of books and you spread it around.
That's right.
I do, but there's only so much I can do. Only so
Still
much.
watching.
Yeah. The absolutely horrific, anemic Carolina Panthers go to Arizona. Corbin, coming right back to you. Anything you like in this game?
I have got 3 plays. One of them I will save for my alt play. I want to talk about Connor anytime touchdown.
Amen.
And I am actually going to be a contradiction this week.
Whoa.
Wait, or at least I want a discussion about it. So originally I wrote that I'm going to keep riding it, but I was concerned with his performance last week. He didn't run particularly well. His touchdown was a reception as opposed to actually rushing it in. 8 games last year, 9 he didn't. So if you played this in every game, you would lose money. Do we now, because we hit it last week, do we take the 1-0 and just disappear and say we made money on a touchdown? Because if we played it a whole year like we did, or if he has the same results he had last year and we continue to play it, we'd end up either around the same point or losing slightly. So my question was, do we just take the 1-0 and just be happy and get out of it?
I think you play him against bad teams, and this Panthers rush defense was awful. Like they're really really bad. So yeah, you're playing the Broncos, probably not, but fact is he had 12 carries and 4 catches last week, so that's just a lot of usage, man. If he's going to touch the ball 16 to 20 times against this Panthers team, where they're probably going to be up and they get in close. Yeah, I still think it's worth playing this week, Jim.
Yeah, I mean we have a
that-
future on him as well, so it's like, do you want to double up against the future as well? So that was my. I'm not saying don't do it. I just wanted to discuss it.
Sure.
See him getting a receiving touchdown. I like it even more.
He had one in the head-to-head last year as well.
Yeah, I love the fact that they said this ain't working, but it's got to go to Connor. They said that. Like, okay, look for the running back. Look for Connor. It's the end zone. So I think you stick with it. That's going to be a theme for us this year is just going to what works and sticking with what works.
And then my second player I just want to quickly mention that I'm looking at is Bryce Young over 16.5 rushing. Similar theme to why I like the Rattler. I like this one less. 5 rushes for 40 yards last week. Went over 7 games last year. I think he's going to have to run to make stuff happen, quite honestly. he's still fighting for his job. He's still trying to prove so much. I think he's going to have to run to make anything happen against this Cardinals defense, who I don't think is great. So I think he can have success.
Jim?
I really don't have much in this game, to be honest with you. That's it. It was just Connor for me.
Is there anything fade Rico Dowdle? If there is, just let me know. Just leave it at
I think
that.
I saw props on him earlier.
I saw on
I'm
DraftKings they have
looking
his
through
under his longest rush, but whatever.
Yeah, he doesn't run very long anyway. I remember playing him on the
Bad.
Cowboys.
He's
and
not
it's
good.
long.
He's not good. I had him on a fantasy team, and was he awful to watch. So
Just keep in mind with this game, too, though, Arizona gave a very uninspiring performance against the
did.
Saints. So
it's pretty bad.
I would tread with caution here with this game.
I think the books are onto your Dowdle. I just checked at 17.5 just for his rushing yards full stop. So he had 12 last week.
12.
Under.
Great. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the marquee game of the week. Eagles at the Chiefs.
Who wants to get it out of the way?
There's nothing you can do. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about Xavier Worthy. It sucks. You can't. There's nothing you can do with him. We don't know if he's gonna play or not. Even if he does play, you're not putting anything on him. It sucked, but we move on. That sucked, but I think to me the more concerning one was actually Pacheco. Didn't get the opportunities. Looked terrible. He was off the field on big downs. It was really, really alarming, and I think this Chiefs offense is in real trouble. I mean, there's only so much you can do when Hollywood Brown's your number one, aging, almost retired Travis Kelce is your number two. Mahomes is great. Reed is great. I can't play anything on this Chiefs team. So for me, it's just go back, rinse and repeat. Jalen Hurts at -110 anytime
That's what I was
touchdown.
talking about
It's
when I
just
said, do you want to get it out of the way?
I thought you were.
I was like, we all have it written down. It's all
Okay.
ready. I was like,
All
who
right.
wants to take it? That's what I was referencing.
That's all I'm playing in this game, Jim.
I mean, I'm terrified about Pacheco. He should be the starter. He should
terrifying.
get the workload. But again, we see Kareem Hunt just trotting on out there every time.
Look at Pacheco's rushing total. 35.5. 35.5 for the supposed starter of the Chiefs. Oh, man.
Well, here's what we get with the Chiefs right now. Their offensive line, they lost some players. They don't look on the same page at all. Mahomes isn't on the same page with the O-line as far as the checks go. That's a real freaking problem. The Chiefs defense, where was the pass rush? Where was Chris Jones? He was a non-factor. Are we starting to see the downfall of Chris Jones where he's just like a guy that occupies space? What I will say is this. What I notice is that George Karlaftis is still hustling and still going. He registered a sack in week 1. We have seen Jalen Hurts under pressure, what he can do. Yes, he can scramble and run, but the Chiefs are familiar with this team. I like Karlaftis to get a sack. I'm going to wait to see what this line is. I would assume it's going to be plus money for a half a sack. I'll be playing that for sure.
Corbin?
I have 3 plays circled in this game. Hurts touchdown, we already mentioned he had 2 last week, going back to that. Hurts over 9.5 rush attempts has my interest. He had 14 last week, 11 in the Super Bowl, and they didn't even. He didn't even play the whole
get
game.
8.5. You can even get 8.5. Even better.
I love 8.5. That is a seriously good play to me. Just because we mention it all the time, I don't need to say it over and over again. But the tush push, the runs, everything. I think he can easily go over 8.5. I will probably be playing that. And then Barkley over his receiving, 14.5 has my interest. He had 4 receptions for 24 yards last week, 6 for 40 in the Super Bowl. Again, he wasn't really needed at that point. To get 40 and not play the whole game seems kind of good to me. Chiefs were decent versus the run last year. The Chargers ran 25 times and only got 90 yards rushing. Hampton got 2 catches and went over this total, I believe. I think Barkley can go over 14.5 in just 2 catches. So I quite like that play as well.
I just want to, before we move on, I want to go over one thing, unless you had something else, Andy.
Yeah, on DraftKings, race to 40 yards rushing. Saquon's only minus 140.
Love it.
I mean,
Hurts is
who's even getting?
Oh, Hurts.
Who's even
Hurts.
getting to 40 yards on the Chiefs? So yeah, he's probably fighting his teammate on that one.
You could probably take both of them.
Yeah.
At plus 400.
Yeah, sprinkle on Hurts and yeah. So, what were you gonna say, Jim?
So my cousin, diehard Steelers fan, and knows his football. Works in the athletic department for one of our colleges here, in the football department in New Jersey. And I was talking to him about the Eagles, and he said, "You don't understand how bad our secondary is."
Really, the Eagles secondary.
He goes, "We are going to get exposed so bad at
But they
some
have-
point
Interesting.
in the season."
who
So
exposes
that
him?
brought me to this: is who is Patrick Mahomes throwing to?
I mean,
You can't make that decision until you know if Worthy's playing, to me.
I don't think Worthy's playing. I think
don't
you
as well,
made it.
but-
You're right. But if he doesn't play, I'm looking at this 25.5 on Thornton. He had a good amount of targets. Like, obviously, there's something there that Mahomes sees that he wants to go to him.
he's the only
Brown,
healthy
Kelsey,
one.
Yeah.
He's the only one
yeah.
not limping off the field or
He's the
holding
only
his
one
shoulder.
with young legs, like everybody else. Like 25.5 could look like a steal. I mean, they're going to get a week to work here with Worthy out. Don't be shocked to see that name mentioned in this game.
All right. Moving on, almost through the games here. Falcons and the Vikings. I don't know if it gets better than. I don't know. I've peaked with my J.J. McCarthy predictions when I said Bears to score a touchdown when J.J. McCarthy underthrows an out route. I think I might go back to J.J. McCarthy interceptions. He just needs one. And it's plus money. I mean, all you need is that one rookie moment. Like, oops, I was a little late on this throw, or oops, I overcooked it, or whatever. So I McCarthy over. But Corbin, I want to come to you first. These rushing props are interesting. What's going on in this Vikings backfield? But Jordan Mason's their number one. It looks like.
Yeah, which is kind of why I only have one prop written down, but it's kind of linked to Aaron Jones. Well, it's his receiving over 20 and a half. I mentioned it last week. I think he's going to be the receiving back. I think that's going to be one of his primary jobs now with Mason there. He had 3 receptions for 44 yards last week. And what I like about Jones is not just that he catches the ball, but he's quick. He's really nimble on the outside. He can break tackles. He can get this in 1, even 2 catches. And I think that's how they're going to have to utilize the backfield, particularly Jones versus the Falcons. That's the only angle I had this week.
Jim?
That's a great angle. I love that angle. Absolutely love that angle. Other than that, I got nothing in this game. You read my mind. I thought that was the big surprise was that Jordan Mason got the run. I'm sitting there watching that game going, what? Is Jones hurt? Like, why is it not him? But it was effective. I agree with you on McCarthy. I think he is going to throw a lot of interceptions this year. I think you can't go right back to it. What'd you guys feel about that Minnesota defense? I know they woke up in the second half, but to me that was more Caleb Williams being just bad. And there was guys running wide open through that secondary. I mean, wide open.
Yeah.
That overthrow to DJ Moore should have been a touchdown. He had Cole Kmet 39 yards down the field and sails it. If he completes those passes, that stat sheet looks different. I think we feel different about the Vikings. I would be looking at Drake London if that's the case.
Yeah, check the injury report, but they got props out for him, so he should be good to go. I like this Penix over 9.5. He rushed 6 times, had that touchdown run, so that could be interesting. I'm probably not going to play because I don't think he did this once last year, but he was just making his first starts. But now that he's got full training camp and everything, he seemed a lot more comfortable to run. So, all right, let's move on to Monday night. Buccaneers and the Texans. Our boy Baker just keeps throwing 2 touchdowns. Just get plus money. It's such a beautiful thing here. Jim, you like anything else on this one?
Well, I think this is going to be a y'all must have forgot game here for Mr. Mike Evans.
Oh.
Who's the shiny new toy in town? Mbuka, right? Look at his line compared to Evans. They're going to line them evenly. I'm not buying it, man. I'm not buying it. It's still Mike Evans in prime time. And we know, and I'll take a page out of Corbin's book, Baker in prime time, Baker makes statements in prime time. He goes to his guys. He gets his guys in the end zone. The other guy who always shows up in prime time is Cade Otton as well.
We have a
He's had
Cade
some
Otton sighting.
monster games, right? Like it's like you always forget about Cade Otton. Then you check the stat sheet, and he's got 9 receptions for 73 yards and a touchdown.
And he's on the waiver wire in your fantasy league. Meanwhile, your tight end has 2 catches for 11 yards.
He's just the forgotten man, and now that we have the shiny new toy again, we got to wait for some more props to come out for the rest of these guys. But 30 for Cade Otton, 69 for Evans. Evans anytime touchdown. Baker to throw 2. It's the same old set it and forget it with the Buccaneers, man. I don't like anything coming out of Houston. Houston, their defense did not play up to par. Their pass rush was not up to par. I was very, very unimpressed with Houston.
You're getting some crazy numbers on some of these props. I mean, if you think this Texans defense is not all that, which it should be, but I mean, you're getting minus 10 on Bucky. You get plus 140 on Evans.
Yeah.
There's some really nice ones.
Otton's
Corbin, you
what,
like
plus
anything?
400?
Yeah.
Only the Baker 1.5 and the Fairbairn field goals for the Texans. They're clunky on offense. Just keep playing Fairbairn over his 1.5 field goals.
And we move to last game of the weekend because, what we really need is a 10 o'clock Monday night football game in our lives. Did I see Michigan
with the
State
Raiders
has
in it?
Yeah. Did you see what was it? Michigan State kicks off at 11 p.m.
I will not be staying up for that one.
Yeah. Good thing you're not a State fan there, Corbin.
Chargers at the Raiders. Corbin.
Herbert, no interception. Just keep playing it over
Minus
and over
180.
and over.
This one they might be on to us on this one.
You know what? Put that with the Bucks plus 10.5, and then you have it down to playable range. I like these props when they're minus 180. I love playing alt spreads of anything. I've used them before. Like I like the Bucks plus 10.5, Falcons plus 14.5. Like all of these, you just add and it brings it down to a playable number. But I'm going to continue to play that. Looking at Hampton rush attempts, not going to play it this week. I got burned on the Najee Harris last week where they were like, oh, it's going to be an equal opportunity. He's going to play it, and then just didn't appear at all. So I need to sit and wait on that one.
Jim?
This Raiders team, we just play Geno to throw a pick every game?
Oh,
Like
that's
every
a good
game?
one.
Like the man is just so turnover prone. And I don't think he really has the offensive line that he needs to not get skittish. We saw some great numbers from the Raiders offensively. Bowers for 5 for 103. Jacoby Myers, the other guy that everybody forgets about, 8 for 97. Easily goes over. A Michael Mayer sighting of a game, 4 for 38. I mean, Geno's spreading the ball around, but he's very turnover prone. Very, very turnover prone. I liked what I saw from the Chargers. I'm still a little worried about their left tackle situation. Hopefully Herbert can stay healthy because what we've seen from Herbert is he's not really super durable. He's always banged up with something later in the season. But I liked what I saw from them. Defensively and offensively. I thought they were going to really struggle on defense. And, man, they had Kansas City figured out. They really did. So, Geno interception. Keenan Allen being the guy. I know Ladd McConkey's great. What do you think about this 47.5 on Allen? To me, it seems a little low.
Really? He looked great. They made a conscious effort. They're just going to throw the ball. Yeah, maybe I want to see him again because that was a very different type of offense. I mean, Harbaugh's run, but then he just they let Herbert loose and got him going. I'm waiting for Jacoby Myers props. Jacoby Myers. He's their number one wide receiver. I think Bowers is a pass catcher. Bowers looks to be banged up this week. Jacoby had 6 for 97. He's just always underrated. He knows how to get open. Geno's going to find him. So when I get I'm hoping that Jacoby's in the 50s. I would love that. So, but other than that, that's all I got in this game. Corbin, you like anything? just
I
besides
already did.
the Hampton?
I already did my 2 bits. Yeah,
All
nothing
right.
else.
Well, we're coming to you. We've got
Which one are we
same.
going for first?
We'll do the alt universe. So walk us through this alt play. Then we'll do the same game parlay. We'll finish up
Yes.
with things that suck.
Perfect. So we're going to start off with Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, both to have a passing touchdown. I think both these passing defenses suck on both teams. I'm really not high on Trevor Lawrence, but it's the Bengals, and I think anyone could throw a passing touchdown against the Bengals right now. Each had one last week. I like both of those together. That piece on its own is minus 350 ish. Then we're going to go to my favorite piece. Hunter Henry, 2+ receptions, 15 games, 2 he didn't. He went over this. Tight game, issues running the ball. I just keep playing Hunter Henry. It's a great parlay piece. As I mentioned earlier, you can also use 3 receptions. I will probably use both, quite honestly. And then McBride, 5+ receptions. When he had 6 last week, 12 games he went over 4.5 last year. I expect them to be passing quite a lot this week. Harrison can take some attention away from him. Panthers could end up being quite a close game. They didn't look convincing last week, either team. So, yeah, I'm going to continue to ride those pieces and minus 119 for those together.
All right. In your same game parlay, we're going to the Giants and the Cowboys.
Yeah, I struggled with the same game parlay this week, actually, but I mixed in 3 plays that I love, basically, that all happened to be in the same game. I'm really high on Javonte Williams after last week. He had 15 rush attempts for 54 yards against Philly with a long of 11, which initially you would go, oh, a long of 11 isn't that super impressive. But to still get to 54 yards, even with a long that low, I really like. He had 2 touchdowns last week. I'm expecting the Cowboys to be up or at least competitive. I don't see how they lose by more than 7.5 to this Giants team. Giants are awful against the run. The Commanders ran for 220 against them as a team, which cashed. I did the Commanders team total rush last week, and I think Williams is going to have another great week. So plus 135, I love this play. So
All right. And the segment is things that suck. And these are things that suck. And how can we attack the props betting market? So, Jim, what were 2 things that you noticed that suck?
Well, here's what I noticed about the Jets, and specifically their secondary, is Sauce Gardner is getting the Darrelle Revis treatment. So if anybody remembers with Darrelle Revis, it was just don't throw at him. Just don't throw at him. And you brought this up a year ago about his interceptions problem.
Take his under.
They just don't throw to him. How are you supposed to get an interception if you're just looking where he is and going to the other side? On the other side of the field, we had Brandon Stevens, who looked lost yesterday. Looked bad. Had an interception, hit him right in the hands. He fell down, slipped on the turf, gave up a touchdown. It was flagged for pass interference twice deep. I'm going to attack the Jets secondary this way. Obviously, I'm going to be watching the games, being a Jet fan, and whoever Sauce Gardner is shadowing, I'm going to take the opposing wide receiver facing Brandon Stevens. I'm going to look at their props and bet live. We always speak about how live betting is just the way to go. And if you see that it's going to be, just to use Mike Evans matched up with Sauce Gardner all day, you're taking everybody else but Mike Evans because they're not even going to go to him. Maybe once or twice. So I believe that's the way to attack this Jets defense. The safety play was very poor as well. We had a missed tackle by the safeties twice that led to big plays. So apart from Sauce, it's looking kind of ugly in the backfield. I don't think this needs an explanation here. The Bills' rush defense. If the showing wasn't bad enough, now they're going to be down Ed Oliver against the Jets. The Jets are a committed running team. Now, you got to decide for yourself how you want to attack this with Breece Hall, Justin Fields, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis. All these guys are seeing time running the ball. But across the board, that Bills rush defense, I mean, they were getting blown 4 or 5 yards off the ball. And I know it's the Ravens, and I know it's Henry. But you guys watch the game. Was anybody touching Henry like 5 yards down the field? It was like he was running free through the line. So I'm going to fade these guys. They got their best defensive tackle that's out now. I'll be looking to fade them. And injuries. We went down this list beforehand. Austin Eckler, with the Achilles injury. You absolutely hate to see it. Corbin, you had a great list. Just go down, please, the injury list. It's absolutely sucks in week 1, week 2 to have your players just ripped from you for the rest of the season.
Yeah, Worthy was the one that initially springs to mind because that was one of my favorite plays was his whole reception. So that hurt. The biggest thing I can say with injuries is that you just have to expect that they're going to happen at some point, and that's why, particularly this year, I'm limiting my stake per play. We've done it with our client plays. If you have 3 plays that you love a week and one of them gets injured on the first play, you have to win the other 2 just to like break even and not make a loss. That's why if you spread out across more props and have more volume, even if one goes down with an injury, you can still recover with the others, and then it's just to play angles live when you get the opportunity. Last week, some of the injuries on the 49ers set up for the McCaffrey receiving yards, which I mentioned. You can target these props live when you see stuff like that happen. I did the same with Reed last night. Reed went out, played Kraft over his receiving total at the time, smashed it. So really it's those. Andy might remember the list of who else is injured, but like
Oh, it's
Kittle,
Purdy,
Jennings,
Kittle. Well,
yeah.
I mean, Worthy. They're just, they wreck props and they change things. I mean, 49ers went from being like the easy number 1 team to pick in survivor pools to now
Yeah.
you're not doing it. So. All right, that's going to do it for us. Once again, guys, NFL Prop Pack is up, wt.buzz/AL. Every prop, every parlay, every NFL pick that we have for Sunday and Monday is going to be included in this. 8-6 last week. Very happy with that. Looking for another profitable week. Don't forget to hit the button on the way out. Leave a comment. Tell us what you like this week. Good luck on all your bets this weekend, and take care.
Good luck.